Well, here it is, the 2023 GWM Ora. This is the extended range we've got at the moment, but let's just call it Ora for now. And first of all, how good does it look? Look at the styling. It has proven to be a hit everywhere we've taken it. As you can see, we're right here in the city of Sydney. This car's natural habitat, it is a city-focused electric vehicle. Let's find out how it tackles the daily grind. The GWM Ora electric hatch, about the same size as a Toyota Corolla for a size reference, is on sale now, priced from $39,990 plus on-road costs, a reduction of $4,000 from the initial launch price announced 5 months ago. Drive-away prices for the base standard range model now range from $40,606 to $42,927, depending on the state or territory you live in. The standard range starts from that $39,990 entry-level price, while the extended range we're testing at launch starts from $45,990. The range-topping Ora GT starts from $51,990. 3 model grades and 2 battery capacities make up the Ora range. At launch, the extended range we're testing comes with the 63 kilowatt-hour battery pack and a claimed range of 420 kilometres. All versions are powered by a 126 kilowatt and 250 newton metre electric motor driving the front axle. On test, our best efficiency result indicated a real-world range of around 390 kilometres. Now, it might sound funny to say this, but I think one of the keys with an affordable electric vehicle, and for that matter, any affordable vehicle, when you're targeting a part of the market and saying, we're here if your budget isn't limitless, is that you get inside the cabin and it doesn't feel cheap. Now, to that point, defining what cheap is quite difficult, especially in an automotive sense. But I would say that the GWM Ora does not feel cheap at all once you get in here. And a whole lot of punters who've asked to take a look in it while we've been out driving it have said exactly that. They've opened the door, sat inside the cabin and said it feels pretty premium in here, which I think is really well done. You've got 2 10.25-inch screens. The driver's display is interactive, and then, of course, your central screen there. We've tested CarPlay while we've been doing this launch drive. No issue with that. It is wired. You connect that down there. You've got 2 USB ports and a 12-volt charging port down there as well. The interaction between the driver and the technology is really easy. The switchgear on the steering wheel is pretty easy to work out, and that stuff up there on the screens works well enough. However, I will say one negative point for mine is that you need to go into that infotainment screen to control certain functionality that I would prefer you didn't have to, like the air conditioning. So if you want to do things other than turn the air conditioning or the demisting on and off, beyond that, you have to go there into the screen. Importantly, for a vehicle that is focused on city driving, the visibility in here is excellent. You can see in all directions when you're parking, manoeuvring around in shopping centres, tight spaces, really easy to manoeuvre the Ora around. I think that's key for city buyers. And then, of course, there's comfort and functionality. The driving position, the driver's seat, the passenger seat, comfortable choice of materials is good. You've got plenty of storage through here as well. I've got my phone sitting in the wireless charger there. You don't need to use that. As I said, you can use the wired charging if you feel like it, and then connect up to CarPlay. But this is a comfortable, practical cabin, and I think especially when you take into account the price point, it's pretty well executed. Into the back seat, and that sense of space and practicality continues. Now, obviously, you're not in a limousine, you're in a compact city car, but there's actually a little bit more room back here than I thought there might be. You've got an almost flat floor, so the relationship of the seat base to the floor is pretty good. You can have your legs out, my feet go under the seat. That, of course, is my driving position, so I've got enough room back here. Fold-down armrest, has a couple of cup holders in it. You've got a USB charger down there. Reasonably useful door pockets as well. And one other thing that's worth noting here is the way that you sit into the seat. So you've got plenty of headroom. You've, in fact, got more headroom back here than you have in some SUVs that we test. So that's worth noting. And then, of course, the backrest, the angle of it back here is pretty good. So you're not sitting too far upright. You can sit back. In short, even if you're around 6 foot, 6'1", this isn't a bad place to spend your time. In the luggage space, you get 228 litres with the second row in use, and a useful 858 litres if you fold that second row down. While it's not the kind of car you'd load up with 4 adults and their luggage and head off on a road trip, it isn't meant to be that kind of car either, and the Ora is perfect for what most of us would do in the daily grind to and from work. Right, so when you head out into the traffic in the GWM Ora, you're going to focus on the reason that you would buy a city-focused electric SUV. So let's forget about how fast it is, because people who love electric cars love talking about that. And let's forget about the handling, like race car type stuff, because that's irrelevant when you're driving around in the traffic. Let's focus on how it behaves doing all of the regular day-to-day things. On the highway, on coarse chip surfaces, you will notice a little bit of road noise because the cabin is so quiet without an engine to mask the sound. So road noise aside, what's the drive experience like? Well, I can tell you, it's pretty quiet and refined in here. This is not a luxury car, so it's not like you're driving around in a Range Rover, but it's pretty well put together and the cabin is nicely insulated. The other factor that I tend to look for in electric cars, simply because they are so much heavier than an internal combustion engine vehicle of the same segment, is the ride quality. And I'm really impressed with the way this little Ora manages bumps, ruts, the typical chopped up city roads that we have in big cities like Sydney. It really deals with them very, very nicely. It's never uncomfortable. There can be a bit of a firm edge to the worst bumps, but in general, it deals with the road surfaces that we live with in cities like Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane quite effortlessly. It's actually a good, fun little car to drive too, and I think that's important for something like this. As I said at the start of this, I don't think 0 to 100 and power figures and performance figures are relevant for this segment in this type of car. I think it's more important that it's fun to drive, and it absolutely is that. The other factor that I think is really important with city-focused electric vehicles is practicality, getting in and out of them, storage, space, seat comfort, things like that. These doors open nice and wide, so whether you're getting in the front row or the second row, it's easy. There is a lot of storage, as we said when we were talking about the cabin specifically. There's more than enough storage for this size of car in this segment. And the cabin practicality is there, that if this is your only car, it's what you're using to get from A to B every day, the Ora is pretty good. The other thing the Ora does well is give that electric vehicle sense of immediacy, which, even though I said it's not that important how fast it is, it comes into the driving enjoyment factor. So if you need to put your foot down and overtake or pull out of an intersection, this will do that easily. And it's immediate, you're straight on it. The other thing you can do is play around with some of the drive settings. So I've been manipulating the one pedal braking, one pedal driving I should say, to see how that works. And you do get to the point, as you do with a lot of electric vehicles, once you get used to it, you roll off the throttle, as I've done there, and you get used to where it will come to a stop on its own. But I do think it's worth reiterating, this is a fun car to drive, and I think it's going to do exactly what the budget-minded EV buyer wants. Well, the GWM Ora electric vehicle is, as we suspected it might be, quite an impressive little thing. I've been looking forward to driving it, and having spent a good few days with it now, I can tell you that it hasn't disappointed. Now, of course, the extended range we've tested here starts in the mid-40s. The regular range actually starts under 40 grand, 39,990 before on-road costs. So if you're on a budget, I'd encourage you to have a look at that one. I love the styling, so does everybody else out on the road as well. Let us know what you think about the styling in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like if you've enjoyed the video. Click on subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our latest video content and the full review of the 2023 GWM Ora. That's over at Drive.com.au.